2024 FIDE World Chess Championship. Game 11. Gukesh D in white versus Ding Liren in black. Opening phase. Flexible reti structure with dynamic pawn play. Moves 1 to 10. Gukesh begins with a reti-like setup, favoring flexibility and aiming for a hyper-modern approach. Ding pushes d4, seizing central space and creating immediate tension. Gukesh challenges the central pawn with b4, initiating a flank attack. Ding responds sharply with c5, aiming to maintain central dominance and open the position. Gukesh prepares to undermine black's central pawns with e3, while Ding develops the knight to f6, reinforcing the d4 pawn and ensuring rapid piece activity. The pawn move a3 supports b4 and prepares for queenside expansion. Ding places the bishop on g4, pinning the knight and exerting pressure on white's position. Gukesh exchanges pawns on d4, opening lines for both players. After h3, Ding decides to exchange the bishop for the knight, simplifying the position, but slightly weakening white's pawn structure. Ding then places the queen on c7, preparing for queenside activity. Gukesh reinforces the center with d3, supporting his pawns and preparing to develop his light-squared bishop. Ding counters aggressively with a5, aiming to disrupt white's queenside plans. Gukesh advances with b5, creating immediate threats on the queenside. Ding develops the knight to d7, defending against potential pawn pushes and adding flexibility for future maneuvers. Middle game. Dynamic imbalances and queenside pressure. Moves 11 to 20. Gukesh fianchettos the bishop, aiming for control over key light squares. Ding places the knight on c5, targeting the b3 and d3 squares while maintaining activity. Gukesh develops the bishop to a long diagonal, increasing his influence on the board. Ding retreats the knight to d7, looking to reposition and reinforce the center. Gukesh castles, ensuring king safety. Ding places the knight on e5, targeting the weak c4 and f3 squares and preparing for potential king-side activity. Gukesh activates his queen, attacking the knight on e5 and indirectly pressuring d6. Ding defends the d6 pawn by activating the rook on the open d-file. Gukesh doubles rooks on the d-file, increasing the pressure on d6. Ding plays g6, avoiding back-rank threats and creating luft for the king. Gukesh expands on the queenside with a4, aiming to create activity and open files. Ding responds with h5, preparing for counterplay on the kingside. Gukesh pushes the b-pawn, creating a passed pawn that becomes a key asset in the game. Ding centralizes the queen to block the pawn and maintain defensive flexibility. Gukesh develops the bishop to the strong a3 square, targeting d6 and preparing for future tactics. Ding places his bishop on h6, eyeing the f4 queen and threatening to exchange. Gukesh simplifies by exchanging bishops on c5, maintaining his positional edge. Ding recaptures with the queen, keeping the c5 square active for defense. Gukesh centralizes his queen, increasing pressure on d4 and preparing potential tactical threats. Ding develops the knight to c6, stabilizing the queenside and supporting the central pawns. Critical phase, tactical breakthroughs and dominance, moves 21-29. Gukesh maneuvers the knight to a3, eyeing b5 and c4 as potential outposts. Ding activates the rook to d7, preparing to defend the queenside and d4. Gukesh retreats the knight to c2, adding support to the b-pawn. Ding captures the b6 pawn, momentarily neutralizing white's queenside play but losing coordination. Gukesh activates the rook on the open b-file, creating threats against black's queen and pawns. Ding retreats the queen to c7, aiming to defend the b7 pawn and control key squares. Gukesh doubles rooks on the b-file, amplifying pressure on the queenside. Ding castles, ensuring king safety and connecting the rooks, but his position remains under severe pressure. Gukesh maneuvers the knight to a1, eyeing c4 and b3 as potential targets. Ding counters with rb8, aiming to contest the b-file. Gukesh places the knight on the active b3 square, targeting c5 and a5. Ding pushes e6, attempting to open lines for counterplay, but further weakening his position. Gukesh places the knight on c5, a dominant square that restricts black's mobility and creates tactical threats. Ding tries to double rooks for defense, but remains on the back foot. Gukesh doubles rooks on the b-file, maintaining maximum pressure. Ding retreats the queen to c8, hoping to defend critical squares. The decisive blow. Gukesh captures on c6, winning material and leaving Ding unable to defend the b-file or the vulnerable pawn on b7. Ding resigns, as his position collapses under the combined pressure of white's active pieces. Key moments and insights. Dynamic pawn play. Gukesh's early b4-b5 thrust and subsequent b6 advance created lasting queenside pressure that Ding struggled to counter. Central and positional dominance. Gukesh's knights, especially on a3 and c5, exerted immense pressure on black's position, targeting critical weaknesses on b7 and d6. Precision in tactics. The final qxe6 move was a culmination of Gukesh's strategic play, exploiting weaknesses and ensuring a decisive material advantage. Ding's missed opportunities. Moves like 18, bh6 and 26, e6 were too passive. More active counterplay, such as challenging white's rooks earlier, might have provided Ding with better chances. Conclusion. This game demonstrated Gukesh's mastery of queenside play, dynamic piece coordination, and tactical sharpness. His ability to create and sustain pressure, combined with precise execution, overwhelmed Ding and secured a critical victory in the championship. Ding's passive defense and inability to generate counterplay underscored the effectiveness of Gukesh's strategic approach. This pivotal win solidified Gukesh's position as a dominant force in the match. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. And subscribe to Rook's Revenge now for more World Chess Championship analysis content.